Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help.
All of our guests today, including Dan Russell, standing by, brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Enjoy no-hassle 3-day returns and 30-day exchanges on all used vehicles, so you can make sure what you get is just right for you. Don't just love your car, love buying it at langleychrysler.com. 30 years, host of Sportstalk on Vancouver Airwaves, late night radio, CJOR, NW, CFMI. It was must-listen-to radio.
It was.
For every single sports fan in Vancouver. Dan Russell has written a book, Pleasant Good Evening, a memoir, my 30 wild and turbulent years on Sports Talk, as we bring in Dan. Dan, thanks for doing this, sir. How are you?
Well, I'm very good. Pleasant good morning to you.
Yes, I love it. Hey, before we go any further here, Dan, John in Nanaimo in our Delaney's OK Tire and Langley inbox, please ask Dan if I can be the Fog and Suds caller of the night. And I'm sure you'll give him. Yeah, okay. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah.
Yes,
great memories.
You know, the tweet out yesterday announcing the book, I'm overwhelmed with guys like John and Nanaimo and so many people. It's been, I'm really humbled. The last 24 hours has been absolutely incredible. I didn't know what to expect in terms of a response, but people seem to be like chomping at the bit. Maybe nostalgia is in. I don't know. I have to say, Donnie, though, that I'm glad you have me on before Rick can read the book.
Oh,
oh no.
Am I getting ripped?
No, that's good.
Ripped? Yeah.
That's intriguing.
Well, okay. There was Rick was a busybody. Is he still a busybody, Donnie?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You should see before the show.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen it, yes. Yeah. And so I had a show once. Yeah. And I don't know if you agree, guys, but trying to get a good guest is certainly sometimes challenging. And when you do get one, you really. And so, would you guys consider like Pat Summerall, the NFL lead broadcaster partner of John Madden? Would you consider him a great guest to get?
Yes,
definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
Right. I had a night where Rick Dollywall seemed to think that I should be doing something else. Do you recall that at all, Rick?
I don't remember that. I screwed up a lot, Dan. I got a million mistakes, so this will be another one of them, I presume.
Did Pat end up on the show, Dan? Did Pat end up on your show?
Next night.
Yeah.
That night.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's okay. Rick and I had a great relationship, but there was a couple of times where I thought, oh, boy, Rick.
Yeah, he's an up bar. He's an up bar. I know. I get it all the time. I get it all the time.
And he works hard. I know. But anyway, yeah, so it's great to be on with you guys. And congratulations on your success of the show. It's 1 year in, I understand. So you got 29 more to go, Don?
Yes, yeah. And then I'll be writing a book. Dan, let me get this straight. You talk about writing a book. You helped yourself, and I hope I've got this right. You kept a diary, and you recorded what happened on every single show? Have I got that right?
Every single. Absolutely right. So nearly 8,000 shows. We have a diary, which I kept, which really helped for this book. I have to say that's probably the thing I'm most proud about, is that when people finally get around to getting this book, hopefully a week from today it'll be on sale, when you get around to it, you'll know that I'm not just guessing at stuff. I'm able to pinpoint exact dates. I kept the diaries of the show. I kept the journals of my comings and goings off the air, all the internal memos, and, of course, hundreds and hundreds of hours of archived recordings.
Why write it, Dan? What made you want to write this book? It's a big task.
It is. And I have to say, guys, and you guys probably will know this, I'm probably the guy who interviewed more book authors than anybody in Canada.
I mean, no kidding.
You know how it goes.
Yeah.
You get 10 or 20 books a year, and we're looking for content, and I was thrilled to have an author come on our show because, we had 3 hours to fill every night. But I thought I knew something about writing a book. It turns out I could write a book now about writing a book because I really didn't know a lot that went into it. Why did I write it? Well, first of all, guys, I in 2013, I was still on the air, and I thought one summer I'm going to jot a lot of this down because my kids were pretty young at that time, and I thought, well, the kids are never going to know what I did. So I put that down, and I took about 2 months to write it, put it away, didn't touch it again. Then COVID-19 hit, and I thought, you know what, I should dust this thing off. And so I've spent 2 years in COVID quarantine. Well, not all in quarantine, but during the 2 years of quarantine and COVID, that's what I did. I wrote this book, and I guess honestly, Don, I just wanted the legacy of the show to have a on the record memory.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, for me growing up, there were two segments. Let me get the Rod Beaton. I wasn't even a big baseball guy, but it was must tune in to Rod. He was so good. That was one. The other one was Brian Burke. We just never, ever missed a segment when Brian was on, and I know you credit Brian a lot. Brian himself has been on our show and has brought up your show. So the Brian Burke segment to me was one of the big home runs for you early.
Absolutely. It's a huge turning point for our program, and that came in 1987 when Pat Quinn hired him. So we're 3 years in. So even though Brian likes to sometimes take credit for inventing our show, it was actually on the air before he got here. Nonetheless, though, he brought it to a new level. He was appointment listening every Wednesday night, no matter where he was, 12 months a year. He could be with his kids on vacation in Whistler. He could be in Hawaii. He could be in Europe. He could be anywhere. He would never miss. And you know what? In those days, Rick, I don't think any shows ever had what you would call a regular guest, a weekly guest.
Yep.
And then that led us to Rod Beaton, who you talked on. And Rod his personality was through the phone, through the roof. It was unbelievable.
Yep.
And the biggest compliment we used to get is the same thing you just said, Rick. Well, I wasn't really a big fan, Dan, of baseball, but I never missed Rod Beaton.
That's it. And 100% Rod Beaton was so good. All right, I'm going to bring up the pauser because when you did the show, you didn't have to deal with Twitter. You didn't have to deal with Facebook and all this stuff that with Donnie and I.
But he had to deal with the pauser.
And emails, people calling us idiots 24/7, Dan. But anyways, the pauser, you would put him in the penalty box. And I also put the pauser in the penalty box when I got to 1040. And then the pauser drove me and Donnie nuts a couple of times too. But he was a big part of your show as well.
He was a huge part, and I would venture to say, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, but I do write it in the book, so I have to stay with this. The pauser is the most well-known, famous caller in the history of Vancouver talk radio, not
100%,
sports radio,
100%.
Vancouver talk radio. It's unbelievable, and good, bad, indifferent. Now, you guys, I have to ask you, there was my memory, there was a 1 year hiatus that Sports Talk was gone. And I seem to recall a guy named Donnie and another fellow named Rick who took over the CKNW time slot.
Yes.
Over there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And one night, you guys invited the pauser on as a guest.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. That was Donnie's idea, not mine.
Yeah. Actually, our first guest was Pat Summerall. Paul LaFleur. Was that
Paul LaFleur.
His name was Paul LaFleur, the pauser. Am I got that right, Dan? He was a Burnaby guy.
I just heard from a relative of his. He passed away a few years ago.
Yes, he did, sadly.
At age 56, I believe. Yeah. Unbelievable. There are stories in the book, as you might well imagine, about the pauser, including the night in there was a couple nights in Victoria, but one where he had Pat Quinn pinned to the corner. They're at the Victoria Memorial Arena.
Oh, that's good.
And they're at it's Canucks training camp, and he is wagging his fingers. So we're about 20 feet from the Canucks dressing room. Pauser pins the big Irishman against the wall and says, "Your team is going nowhere, and you're the reason why." And I wasn't sure that Pat wasn't going to drill him. He did not, but I mean, he was. Another time we're at Canucks training camp in Parksville, and I'm doing the show from the lobby, and I hear this commotion because Pauser would always show up at these training camps. I don't know where he got the budget, but he showed up, and I hear this commotion. And the Canucks were staying in the same hotel. There's the pauser at the elevator about 20 or 30 meters away, and he's got his hand in between the two doors, and he's yelling at a player, and he's saying, "You're a fringe player. You're a fringe player." And you know who it was? It was future Vancouver Canuck GM Jim Benning.
Oh, my goodness. Wow.
Oh, poor Jim.
Wow. Poor Jim. He's been getting it for so many years.
Dan, I could go on about. I saw the pauser go into the Canucks dressing room. They were practicing at Kensington Arena, go into the Canucks dressing room, and Doug Litzter, naked, threw the pauser out of the dressing room in front of everybody. He went right into the dressing room. They were practicing there.
I have to tag that. Speaking of naked, so the one more training camp story. We're doing our show at the Harbor Towers in Victoria, and in the lobby. And we're smart enough now to know don't let the pauser anywhere near our microphones. And we're in the lobby, and my back is towards the bay. Well, a bay window was behind me. There was a garden, shrubs, trees, whole bunch of stuff, and the road right near the Parliament buildings. Well, the pauser couldn't get in the Harbor Towers lobby, so he nestled his way through the bushes, through the trees, and starts pounding on the window. And I'm doing the show live. And we have to turn around. I turn around, the staff turns around, the guests turn around. We all turn around just in time for pauser to turn around. He's dropped his pants, and he's giving us a full pauser moon.
Rick does that every 15 minutes here.
Oh, my goodness.
It was ugly.
We're supposed to be talking about the book. We spent 20 minutes talking about the pauser.
The pauser.
Hey, Dan, for people who don't know, what are you up to these days, other than writing a book?
Well, that's been it. I have three children. Two of them are pretty older now, adult children, but my youngest is 15. So I am actually in Thailand right now. I'm a little further away than Jeff Patterson was the other day for you guys, making a big deal of his aloha. Anyway, and so I golf. You can golf every day here, obviously. The weather's three temperatures, hot, really hot, and freaking hot. But right now we're in just normal hot. And so I golf and I hang out with friends, and, you know, you can watch. I watch your show from here. I watch hockey games from here. Just pretty much do everything.
Do you miss your job? Do you miss your old job, Dan?
Sometimes, you know, there's certain days that something big happens. I mean, I referenced Pat Quinn earlier. I remember the night he passed away. I just was so sad I didn't have a show because you know, he was such a big part of everything. Hey, you know, there's instances like that. But you know what happened, guys, is that, and you know this, you spend all your time trying to keep up because you just never know. And we took a lot of callers. But once you don't have to do that anymore, it's like a piano lifts from your shoulder that you didn't know was there. So I feel that I don't have to keep up. But lately I've been keeping up more. And I don't know if I'm chomping at the bit to do something or not. I think this book was a huge thing. Once I was able to get that off, maybe there's something for me. I don't know.
Wild and turbulent. What was wild and turbulent about the 30 years, Dan?
Well, that's a great question. And you guys both know me. You know I'm fiercely competitive.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with that.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. And you also know that I set the bar pretty high, or we as my team set the bar, but it's usually just myself and the producer. And anybody who infiltrated that often was in my sights, right? And so I have to admit there are times where I wasn't the greatest person to get along with because I was trying to protect the program. You know, a story, every night you talk about the Diaries, but at midnight, every night we'd get right into a producer meeting and we would give a score to our show. We'd actually give it a grade 1 through 10. And I never, ever wanted it to dip below 6. Sometimes it just does, as you guys know. And we were pretty hard. Usually the scores were 7 and 8, the odd 9. And the only time it hit 9.5 was in June of 1994.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
Game 7.
I had to fight a lot of, sorry to answer your questions. I had to fight a lot of battles to keep the show. That's why I think it moved around from station to station. There's a lot of stuff about that in this book. There's stuff in the book a lot about Brian Burke. You know, you mentioned the good times, but we had some not good times either. It's all in there. So I'll let you guys sort of pawn through that at some point. But
Dan,
anyway, it was fun to write it.
Dan, I do want to say one thing to you. When you were going station to station, most of the radio station companies in the city were owned by local people, which made a big difference. And now everything's run out of Toronto by these suits on shoestring budgets, and it's a radio.
It's not the same.
It's not the same, and
it's not the same.
It's not the same. And these guys in Toronto don't have a frickin' clue about Vancouver, and they don't care about Vancouver. They care about the bottom line and their stupid shoestring budgets, and that's all they care about. And they have absolutely put radio in the gutter in Vancouver.
But that's why I salute you guys a lot, because I know what was thrown at you when Team Radio went down, and I was here and I was watching all that happen, and through no fault of the programming, through no fault of the people on there, it's just voila, a Toronto decision, and bang, you're all out of work. But you guys have reinvented, as I had to do a few times, and I have extra fondness for people that do that and admiration, and you guys are, and so you know, I just got to say, you guys have to keep on doing this. And the other people there are also reinventing. So trying.
Yeah.
Trying.
Hey, Dan, you talk about being competitive. I think all of us in this business are. Don't let anybody tell you differently. And I talked about this earlier in the show. We all listen to you. Yeah. For 30 years, all of us listen to you.
Absolutely.
No, competitors or not, everybody listen to you.
Yeah.
You're a legend, and all the best with the book. Now, where can we get it? When does it come out? All of that.
All right. Thank you very much for those kind words. I think it's going to be available 1 week from today on Amazon. It's 38 chapters, 350 pages. I'd like to say that next Saturday, starting Saturday in the Vancouver Sun, Sunday, the following Sunday in the province, and then for 4 more days, they're going to run excerpts from the book. So next Saturday through the following Thursday, you can read excerpts from Pleasant Good Evening in the Sun and the province.
And then you'll get a call from Rick after he reads it. Dan, thanks for this. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me on. See you later.
All the best.
All the best, Dan. All the best.